Did I develop any bad habits at that time in my life? I'm sober 15 years, so yes. As I look back on it 15 years later, I think there was a certain level of trying to sort of get out of my head so I didn't have to deal with it. Describe my relationship with chronic stress throughout my life. Well, I have a Jewish mother. That probably set the tone for a little bit of stress early on. Shout out Barbara. Big fan of my mom. It wasn't clear that it was stress. It presented itself as ambition or this desire to perform, be it at school. I started working from a really young age. And so it was striving and the need to achieve and the hope to impress people. And I've noticed that some good things have come from it. And sort of the duality of it is that certainly some negative side effects from that sort of self-induced stress has come as well. Why I'm happy to be working with the American Heart Association is awareness that you're not alone in this, that there's strategies, there's resource, there's ways in which to deal with these things early on so they don't become this sort of insurmountable mountain to climb. They don't know this, but I've been working with the American Heart Association since I was like 10 years old, because growing up in New York City, my school every year would have a fundraiser. And I'll be honest, at 10 years old, I was really about meeting like those marks to where you got like the free AHA jump rope or water bottle. Basically starting on the first floor of my 16th floor apartment building with my AHA envelope. And I would knock on each door, interrupt people during dinner at 7:30 at night and say, would you like to donate? Heart disease is a leading cause of death for men and women, right? And it also is one of the rare things that we can really mitigate a lot of the risk factors with education and with different treatments. And I think that's really powerful because I can't say that for, a lot of other things in life, but this particular thing, we really can. I think I'm 5 years old. I'm cute. I could have been baby modeling. I see a missed opportunity. My mom and I were living in Boca Raton, Florida. I grew up in New York City, but it seemed like with a single mom, whenever we ran out of money, somehow we'd find ourselves in South Florida living with my grandmother. So I had sort of a not typical sort of family structure. I remember as far back as I could form memories that was something that like stuck with me and made me feel different and was sort of my first sort of source of stress. This idea of like, you are different, you have to work a little bit harder to fit in with your fellows. I had to feel like the odd man out on the donuts with dad day at school or whatever. So I think it was probably my first foray into stress. But this was good times. Look at that kid, he's so happy. Okay, so in this age, I am 21 years old doing the press junket. I remember distinctly thinking like, wow, it might be possible for me to live like this dream of getting to work with people that I was a fan of and getting to work in, on different projects that really challenged me. And so things were looking great. There was all this self-centered sort of stress of what's next and how am I going to navigate this thing? How am I going to capitalize on this great opportunity? And at this time, although on paper, so many things were going right, I still remember feeling twisted up inside at times, having to navigate those familiar stressful feelings. How did stress present itself in my body at that time? I get really bad TMJ. Shout out my dentist. I'm 3 bite guards in 6 years, so things are looking up. I am chewing through this thing. It's thick. And that is such an interesting sort of presentation of stress because it's literally while I'm asleep, like while I should be recovering, my body is thinking about this thing and just sort of doing the motion. And it's not lost on me that this is very like slightly self-centered and kind of quality problems for sure. But, we can't judge how stress presents itself in people. Everyone is going through it. It sort of doesn't discriminate things. So in this picture, I am 36 years old. I'm with my wife, Paige, whose age is undetermined. Our 2 kids who are almost 4.5 and about 7 months in this photo. Life's great. I'm incredibly lucky. It's not lost on me. The reason why I've been able to sort of have these wonderful things in my life is because I was able to sort of collect skills and strategies in which to deal with stress and the things that sort of got me down throughout my life. And in my stress management toolkit, it's exercise, gratitude practice, and being of service to others. Being with my family. My kids are a great sort of distraction from me. I'm always trying to put some space between me and me. And they are these wonderfully, righteously needy little humans who need my attention all the time. I can come home from a tough day at work or feeling rejected from something that didn't go my way or being in fear about, whatever is going on in my life. And suddenly I am taken away from that the moment that my kids run up to me and want my attention and want to play with me. There's certainly days where I'm still calling, my wife and being like, I just need to vent. But on the days where I do feel particularly serene, I find that I'm not attaching myself to feelings and I'm not allowing something that doesn't go my way in life to present this idea that that's okay because I knew it wasn't gonna work out anyway, and what will work out and what are we even doing here? My brain doesn't need to go that far, For anyone dealing with stress, I think my number one tip would be to know that you're not alone in this. You are a human having a human experience like your fellows, and we're all going through it, and it can feel taboo or not cool to talk about at times, or you just don't feel like anyone can truly understand, but I promise you, there are people who can, and there's a lot of resource out there. American Heart Association, going to their website, they have great solution strategies. Of course, no matter where you are in your life, I think you can feel like these sort of deep impulses of stress, and it really serves all of us to figure out strategies in which to deal with it at any time in your life.